Is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Keep It Kula Podcast. My name is Jaclyn, and today we have some interesting stuff to talk about. So obviously, 2 episodes ago, talking about the Blue Jays losing in the World Series, which was the most heartbreaking sports loss, I think, of all time. It has to be the worst way to lose a World Series, one of them at least. Getting over that still, and then my last episode was talking a lot about the process of moving on and kind of how us Jays fans should be moving on, or at least try to be moving on. And, I've been putting a lot of positivity to it. I think that's kind of been the theme of this podcast for a while, was kind of trying to be the most positive sports fan I can be. And I think that's the best way to be a sports fan, where, when the Jays weren't playing their best stuff this season, and I was like, no, I'm still confident in this team. I still think that we can win the World Series. Like, I was confident the entire way through, and and everyone kind of jumped on that bandwagon, obviously, when they were playing so well and looked like we were going to win the World Series with two outs away. And yeah, listen, it haunts me still, and it's going to haunt everyone. If you're a Jays fan, that's going to haunt us for life. And I don't think that there's ever going back. But that is over. The 2025 season is over. The Dodgers had their parade. Couldn't watch a second of it, honestly. Listen, I can't. I think a lot of Jays fans, if they saw that on social media, you probably skipped right away, because that's what I did. I would see it on Twitter, I would cringe, and I would skip, because I just couldn't do that to myself as a Jays fan, and someone who's getting over this loss, and it's going to take a while. But, we had a bit of a spark 2 nights ago, I believe it was. Jays fans had a reason to smile again. And that's because Shane Bieber is coming back to Toronto. He is taking the $16 million to play for 1 more year here. What a rock star move by Bieber. What a rock star move. He was a free agent. He could have easily tested out. He could have talked to many different teams. He could have negotiated. But instead, he's like, no, I want to come back for this contract. I don't care if it's less than what people think I deserve. I want to be on this team, and I want this team to be able to get guys that can win a World Series with us. We're not exactly sure how much Shane Bieber would have been worth, but a lot of the insiders believe he probably could have been worth around $30 million a year. So the fact that he signed a $16 million 1-year deal instead of going for, a couple years, $30 million a year or something like that, shows you how dedicated he is, and how risky it is too, though, to do that and bet on yourself, because if he doesn't have a good year, that could be the end of his career. So the fact that Bieber's like, I'm not even going to look, I'm not even going to test free agency, I don't want to know how much I'm worth, I want to come back to this team, this Jays team, I want to stay in Toronto, I want to play with these guys. So much respect for him. So much respect. And that shows you the kind of team that this Jays team is that I think guys are willing to stay here for less money. And obviously that will go into the Bichette conversation, because free agency has begun. It started yesterday evening. So there's going to be a lot of talks about Bo, but Shane Bieber just being like, I'm coming back, let's run it back, is so awesome, and makes a lot of us Jays fans really happy. Really, really happy. And listen, we're still getting over the Jays losing, and it's going to take a long time. We may never fully recover. However, I am excited now for the 2026 season, and to see Bieber back with this team, and for really putting his all into this team. Listen, the Bo Bichette conversation is now good. It has begun. It's been going on, and it's not going to stop until we hear what's going to happen. Is Bo coming back to Toronto or not? And how much is he worth? How much are the Jays willing to pay him? That is the question that is going on everywhere. Every Jays fan is thinking about that day and night. If you're lying in bed, it's probably what you're thinking of right now. Is, obviously you're dreading the loss that we had to face in the World Series, Game 7, with 2 outs to go. But you're also thinking about Bo, and wondering if Bo's going to come back and want to run it back with this team. I really think Bo's going to come back. I'm saying confidently that he's going to come back. How much is he going to want? I've been reading it, listen, I don't know how much he's fully worth. It's hard to say, right? He was injured a little bit this season. He was so good, though, when he was playing. Obviously, he had that huge moment in Game 7 of the World Series. That should have been the moment of the game. Unfortunately, was not, and might be forgotten. But when it comes to Bo, I think I'm seeing a lot about maybe $250 million for about 7 to 8 years. I think I like that. I like the sound of that. He's not going to get Vladdy money, and he knows that. But at the end of the day, the Jays have to know the kind of guy that we want on this team, and who was going to be a fellow face of the franchise along with Vladdy. And I think it's Bo. And I know Bo and Vladdy want to play together. They've said it several times. They've been together for 10 years, right? They've been with John Schneider for several years as well. So I think Bo is going to stay. I think he's going to test free agency. I think he's going to see what other teams are willing to pay him. Obviously, he wants to get the bag. He wants the generational wealth that, we see his buddy Vladdy getting and so many other stars in the MLB. He wants that for himself and his family and just for generations to come. And I respect that about him because he deserves to get those deals. But I think he truly wants to be in Toronto, and I think he's going to stay. Chris Bassett is another name going around. Is he going to stay? He's going to want the starting pitcher money. Don't know if we're going to want him back as a starter because he was a fantastic reliever. Honestly, seeing Chris Bassett reliever 2025 is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life. The most calm I felt with any player coming on the mound was Chris Bassett as a reliever. He was freaking fantastic. I'd love to have him back. And honestly, maybe he'll be a starter, right? It's a new year. He had a pretty solid record at home in the 2025 season. Bad away record, but I think what this culture does to him and also how he felt in this relieving position and maybe the confidence that he gained back, I think we can bring him back as a starter, but, not necessarily willing to pay him a ton of money. Because there are some other great starting pitchers who we can get, who might be a little bit cheaper in a way as well, because Bassett's also reaching a bit of an older age in baseball, and I'm not sure if they're going to want to commit to something like that. However, I want Bassett back. No question about that. So now, I just want to talk about getting over the Jays. I'm not going to go too much into it because the past 2 episodes have been about that. And, a lot of people have received it well. So thank you guys for all the positivity I've gotten. And, even to the Dodgers fans who are roasting me, listen, you guys won, and congrats to you guys, right? You guys did it. You guys, yes, you have a great team, and yes, you pay a lot of money, but you guys won the game fair. It was fair. Listen, the lodge ball thing, don't love. Obviously, that's going to be a controversial take for a long time. But listen, IKF's foot was also he wasn't safe. Will Smith's foot was at home, but before IKF, and that was the right call, and you guys won that fairly in Game 7. Anyways, so yeah, I think the loss with the Jays, it's hard to move on. It's definitely hard looking at sports. I haven't really been able to watch highlights of this game at all. Bo's home run, I may have watched once or twice since, but it's very hard for me to. All the other plays, obviously the IKF's foot, Ernie's pop-up, Varsho not able to get a hit, Kirky's bat breaking, Ray Savage allowing a home run, Hoffman, Bieber, so many moments, Vladdy crying, Ernie crying, so many different moments that you can't really, it's hard to look at. But I am really excited for what we're going to see in this season. And I'm also just so happy of what we got to see this year. I said I've been to 11 games, and they won all 11, and is that a record? I'm really curious, honestly. If someone from the Jays organization, or honestly just baseball organization, can you tell me if this is a record? I've been to 11 games in 2025 and they won all 11. Would love to know, but it was so special, and I hope a lot of other fans are taking that in. And it's not going to make the loss easier, but it's going to help move forward and being excited for what the team can be. Looking back at the year that we had, the first game I was at was in May against the Padres when we swept them. We won, I believe, 3-0. Bassett started the game. Then I went to Canada Day game, which, every Jays fan remembers that. That was really the turning point of what this team became, and forever one of the greatest days of my life, even though I've said it on the show a few times. But when George Springer hit his grand slam, my throat just started to hurt, and then I had chest stuff, and I ended up rupturing something in my chest. Was in the hospital. I was fine, but didn't affect the game whatsoever. But I think about that day, and it's a positive day. I know it was something really scary happened afterwards, but getting to see that George Springer Grand Slam live was such a dream, and that whole day was amazing being there on Canada Day. And then I went to another game. I remember a few weeks later when we swept the San Francisco Giants, fantastic as well. Went to the one game we beat the Kansas City Royals when I got to see Scherzer start. My first time seeing Scherzer start in a game, I believe. Freaking awesome to see. I then went, my brother's first ever game. I've said on the show that he was never into sports ever. He's 27, finally got him into baseball this summer. And we went to a game against Minnesota where Joe Ryan was starting, and the Jays smoked them. Scherzer didn't necessarily have the best game, I don't think, but I think Kirky hit a home run, Jimenez hit a home run, a lot of great stuff, and it was such a great night. And then I went to the one win against the Milwaukee Brewers where Scherzer was also starting, which is so crazy. And then I think the last game I was at of the regular season was the Baltimore Orioles game when Kirky hit the sac fly to win it in the bottom of the ninth inning. Man, those vibes were absolutely incredible in that game. Oh my gosh, we were freaking out. It was the first game that I saw go to the bottom of the ninth, because every game we won, obviously, and we were leading throughout the entire game. So that was electric. And then obviously the 3 postseason games I went to, game 1 of the ALDS, seeing Aaron Judge strike out. Wow, Vladdy home run, Kirky home run, so many amazing moments in that game. And then going to game 6 of the ALCS, so many double plays I got to see. A Vladdy home run again that my mom caught on video, a Barger home run. It was electric. What an atmosphere. And then getting to go to game 1 of the World Series was one of the greatest moments of my life. And I will never forget that night ever in a million years. You know, my brother and I, we put in money to go. We definitely splurged a little bit, but we knew how much this meant to us and to me and to him and to our family, even, of just getting to experience game 1 of the World Series. And man, getting to see Addison Barger hit a grand slam. You know, I have that video, and I'm not watching. I'm one of those people that if I'm at a concert, if I'm at a sporting event, I want to watch the moment. I'll film it, sure, but I'm not looking at my phone. I can look at it after. It's bad. If it's shaky, so be it. I want to live it in the moment. So the Barger home run, the Barger grand slam, one of the greatest moments I think of my life. Honestly, that moment was electric. The atmosphere was amazing, and I will never forget that. And that ended up being the only home win of the World Series, and I'm really happy I was there. So I really want to remember those for the good stuff, like those years. Listen, I'm happy that I was at every game I was at was a win, so I don't know that feeling really of having to see your team lose and then have to get home, and it takes forever to get home, and it's a traffic, and it's a mess, and the subway, and everything about it. I get it. So I'm happy that I had the great experience at the game, and then obviously seeing them losing the World Series, like, it breaks everybody, but I will not forget the year that I had and all the amazing times I had at the ballpark, and the people I met, and the connections I made, and people I've had on my show, and just I love this team, and I love what this season meant to a lot of people. And, you know, the players and the girlfriends and the wives all shared, like, the nicest stuff. Max Scherzer's wife shared a beautiful, beautiful post about how meaningful this season was. And this is their first year in Toronto. Scherzer's been in many different places. He's won 2 World Series, right? She said that this, I think, I'm forgetting the exact words, but something around the lines that this was the most special year or the most impactful year. And that is really amazing to hear, how this year meant so much to Max and his wife and their family, of being in Toronto. You know, the 41-year-old pitcher didn't know if he can really do it, and how special it was for them to be here. And it was such a beautiful post. And so many other people, like I saw from Louis Varland's wife, I saw from George Springer's wife, like so many nice posts, just honoring this city and how much it meant to them to be together, the wives and girlfriends, to be a part of the fan base, to get to be a part of the atmosphere in the city of Toronto. And, you know, I think that's so amazing to hear that not only did they just love their guys on the team, but they loved living in Toronto and what it meant to be a fan in Toronto and what it meant to be a fan of the Blue Jays. And that was just so special. And, you know, if you guys haven't seen them, you should definitely go and read all of their posts. Like, you know, just spend like 10 minutes or whatever and just go onto all their accounts and read what they had to write, because they're all really, really, really special and really meaningful and really makes you appreciate what this season was. And like they all say it as well. Like, obviously we didn't get what we wanted out of the year, but this season meant more than any other year. And I'm so grateful that we got to have a team like this. And I won't forget this team ever. The 2025 Blue Jays will not be forgotten ever. And I know it didn't end with a win, but it ended with, I don't know, a billion people becoming Jays fans, and kind of the city and the country uniting for this one team. So take that as a win. And I'm going to, no question than that. When I think about this season, of course I'll remember the World Series loss and it'll haunt us, but I'm going to remember the beautiful moments and the guys who weren't supposed to be here, and the fans who came together to support this team and what it did for the city. And I just love this team so much, and I hope everyone continues loving them. And honestly, just get ready for the 2026 season. I truly cannot wait for what we're gonna see. I hope to bring some big names, but I also don't want to break up this team. You know, we got, obviously Ernie is under contract for a little while. Vladdy is here for 14 more years, which is amazing. But let's try to keep the core guys who don't necessarily do a lot for the team, like a Miles Straw or like a Tyler Heineman. I think those guys are so impactful for what it does for the locker room and how they treat each other in the friendship. And, you got to keep those glue guys, even if they're not on the field a ton. Those are key pieces to what this team was and why we were so successful. So I truly cannot wait for the upcoming season. You got to be excited. You got to be excited for free agency. It's the craziest time of year right now. Once again, I know baseball and also that also helps, I think, the fact that we lost in the World Series. But then like 2 days later, free agency starts. So you kind of are back into the mode where it's like, okay, it's game time. Let's get ready, get excited, because this is the biggest free agency of our lives, I think, because what this team did was a World Series team and was 2 outs away from winning it. Maybe we just need that one more piece that can put us over the edge and just be a total dominant team. So I'm excited. I think everyone should be. I really hope to have Bo back. So happy to have Shane Bieber back. What a rock star move by Bieber for coming back and just being like, screw free agency. I'm back, baby. Pay me how much you want. I'm back. He could have been making 30 mil a year. Instead he's making 16 mil. Obviously that's a lot of money, but baseball, you can make a lot more money, obviously. So rockstar stuff from Bieber. Would love to bring Max Scherzer back, of course, but obviously we have to know if he's even going to play another year because we're not even sure yet. There's a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty, but I think I'm just really excited for what we're going to see this season. And yeah, moving on. Listen, my next episode, I have a episode coming out soon. I have a big interview, which I'm excited about. And then, yeah, I'm going to talk about, as I said before, football, hockey, basketball, but baseball will still be a part of this show because free agency is one of the biggest years of our lives, of free agency, and seeing what this team can do. So stay tuned, football, basketball, hockey, baseball, a little bit of everything. As I've said before, the show used to only be football. This summer kind of became only baseball. I'm trying to kind of do a little bit of everything because that's genuinely what I love to do. I'm trying to start getting back into other sports again. It's hard just after going through a terrible, brutal World Series loss. It's hard to kind of watch other sports again, but getting there and trying just to enjoy sports because that's what sports are for, right? It's the high highs and the low lows, and you got to just continue going on with it and hoping that your team can win in the next year. So I think that's going to do it on today. Shane Bieber's a rock star. Bo Bichette, please come back. Would love to have Bassett and Scherzer back, of course. But let's see what the Jays do, and I cannot wait for the 2026 season. And thank you, the 2025 Blue Jays, for giving us a season of a lifetime and a season to remember. And I love this team forever and ever. All right, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.